growing up here, um, when there was, it recalls the '92 rebellion and how
Mhm.
big and culturally impactful that was. Are you're still in LA now, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about these protests that have been taking place recently, and the fact that like they haven't really been in the hood where historically LA protests have been, and they've been in more affluent neighborhoods? Like, what do you think about that, having grown up here?
I mean, I think it's interesting to see that people now have determined to not protest and riot in black neighborhoods, but also there's still a very well defined border between just how far into white neighborhoods you can go. Because like I live like in Beverly Hills, West Hollywood area, and you can see every protest I've been to, police make a very clear barricade between Beverly Hills and West Hollywood.
Hmm.
They are not letting you anywhere near this neighborhood. And they kind of built a perimeter around, like when people got into Rodeo Drive, they was like, oh, we can't let this shit go down. Like they
Right.
made a point to shut that down real quick. When honestly, I wouldn't have mind seeing people, hit them where it hurts,
Take it a little further. Yeah.
yeah. But because I mean that's how you actually get people's attention. Like it's
Yeah.
to me, I find it
Yeah.
fascinating that America is a country that will go to another country, and in order to get them to understand why they need democracy and all these changes, they blow up everything.
Hmm.
And they don't understand people in their own country who
Yes.
are
Yes.
setting fires and breaking things are doing the
Mm.
exact same thing. They're using the destruction of property
Yep.
to make the same point, which is, hey, look, if you don't hear me when I say it, you'll feel me when I do it.
Wow.
And so it's to me, I just find that so uniquely American in its irony that they don't make that connection. Like go blow up a country so that they can believe what you believe, but you don't get it at home.
Hmm.
Well, we're the only country that has military bases all over the world.
All over the world.
We've turned ourselves into the world police. You know what I
Right,
mean? And is it who are we protecting really? You know what I mean? And it
right.
makes sense that the police are an extension of that. I even saw a tweet that I don't remember who exactly said it, but it was like the police are essentially border patrol in this country. You
Yeah,
know,
that was John Stewart the other day. He was like,
ah,
police are basically border patrol, and they patrol the border between black and poor America and white and rich America. And
yeah,
I mean, you couldn't have come up with a better analogy. It's exactly
yes,
what it's turned into, and the the effects of that are finally, you're starting to see them, and you're starting to see that wall kind of corrode and it bleed over a little bit, like that World War Z, I think it was, when all the zombies are climbing up the wall,
oh, they swarm.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
on top of each other, and like at some point, you just enough is enough.